Today on Monkey Life. Recently arrived marmoset Marcel enjoys a newfound freedom as he ventures into the outdoor enclosure for the first time.
Yeah, he's doing really good. I think he's loving it. He's calmed down a little bit now. I think the excitement was a lot to begin with.
In Vietnam, it's a race against time to reach two rescued baby silvered langurs for sister sanctuary Dao Tien.
They're not pets. They should be in the wild, in their family groups, in the forest. That's where they belong.
And Siamang Sam and Sasak are back swinging through the trees once more. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
So far, so good. Nice job. Really nice job.
The park provides a home for more than 260 primates from 24 different species. For more than 35 years, Monkey World has been dedicated to rescuing and rehabilitating primates from across the globe. However, in recent times, a large proportion of those needing the park's expert care and attention have come from a lot closer to home. The UK's outdated pet trade laws have kept Alison and the team on the road, regularly rescuing unwanted marmosets from across the country. And, despite all their efforts, Alison still has a long waiting list. When the small primates arrive, they're given a health check. And if they're male, a vasectomy, before the staff do their best to pair them up with a partner, hopefully for life. It's a really important step for these social animals.
Here at Monkey World, we've got a few different species of marmoset. We've got Jeffroy's marmoset, black tufts, and common marmoset. So we do have a range of different species. They are all unique. Common marmosets, they have kind of this skin-coloured face with a little black round the edge and white ear tufts. Jeffroy's marmosets are a little bit bigger than common marmosets, and they differ because they have a white face, a white around their face, and then also black ear tufts. So they do look physically different.
Despite the marmoset facilities being full to bursting, emergency calls still have to be answered. Jeffroy's marmoset Marcel arrived under such circumstances just last week. He was found running around in a garden in the Midlands. Alison collected him and brought him back to Dorset. Unfortunately, there's no partner for him just yet. But in preparation, he's had a full health check and a vasectomy. So when a female is available, he'll be ready. Until then, he does have some noisy neighbours to keep him company.
He's got Jenny and Clyde, the little old couple, next to him. I mean, they're fairly easy. They probably won't give him much hassle. It's more the Tamarind girls that are just next door, the other side. Obviously, we've got Red and Mo. They're both an old female couple living together. They're quite vocal. They're quite aggressive over food with each other, which does cause a little bit of a stir in the house at main feed times. But hopefully, he'll settle down quickly. The girls will soon learn to leave him alone, and the house will just go back to normal.
Today is the next big step in Marcel's rehabilitation. Elle is going to give him access into one of the specially designed outdoor enclosures.
While we've been revamping the outdoor enclosure, he has had tunnel access, quite a big long stretch of tunnel, and that way he still gets to get a little bit of sunlight, which is really important for vitamin D3, something that a lot of primates lack in the UK primate pet trade from where they're kept in hamster cages, bird cages, on indoor houses. So the fact he's even been able just to get a little bit of sunlight to help him physically is important.
Time to let Marcel get a taste of the great outdoors.
Whoa!
After a cursory look around,
Oh, his face.
he's off, sticking to the mesh at first.
Oh, bless him. You can jump on the branches.
Before gaining confidence and starting to explore.
Oh, good job.
It doesn't take long for Marcel to feel at home in his new outdoor area.
The outside enclosure is probably the closest to the wild that Marcel's ever going to get to, with all the greenery and the branches and the trees and the shrubbery. There's bugs that he can forage outside. A lot of our marmosets spend majority of their time in the nice weather foraging outside for the bugs, for the extra protein, sunbathing. It gives them the additional space from the inside enclosures as well. So yeah, outdoor enclosure is massively important for marmosets.
Despite missing part of his tail, the young marmoset's balance and agility are good, and he seems comfortable on the branching as he takes in all the new sights and sounds.
Yeah, he's doing really good. I think he's loving it. He's calmed down a little bit now. I think the excitement was a lot to begin with. To be honest, I think he's so absorbed by his environment and the new world that he's now just come into that he's got plenty of entertainment. He's got the public right outside of his enclosure for a lot of entertainment. He's been shouting at the tamarins next door. But mostly he's just been exploring around, really, looking at all the different trees and just having a great time.
Marcel is just one of hundreds of primates rescued by Alison and the team from all around the globe. Most can't be returned to the wild and are rehomed at Monkey World. But 6,000 miles away, in southeast Vietnam, the team at sister sanctuary Dao Tien do their best to rehabilitate and release some of the country's most endangered species back into the wild. They include golden-cheeked gibbons, black-shanked duke monkeys, and pygmy loris. Lee Butler has been involved in the running of Dao Tien for many years. He's just arrived to oversee the building of a new emergency rehabilitation centre, which is much needed. The number of rescued primates has increased year on year, and the completion of the new building can't come soon enough. A call has just come in highlighting the urgency. 2 baby langurs have been confiscated by the police in Ho Chi Minh City. Animal manager Ms. Fong is travelling 120 miles south to collect them.
We had a phone call from Cat Tien National Park who said the police department in Ho Chi Minh City, District 1, had confiscated 2 silvered langurs from a street seller. So she's on her way now to pick them up. Hopefully they're still okay. So we'll sit and we'll wait, and she'll probably be back around about midnight.
Ho Chi Minh City may not be far in distance, but it's a 5-hour car journey to the centre of the busy, buzzing metropolis. Formerly known as Saigon, it's the most populous city in Vietnam. It's early evening by the time Ms. Fong arrives at the police station. There's very little information about the 2 baby silvered langurs, although they're thought to be about 4 to 5 months old, and the circumstances in which they were found were distressing.
It was a street seller who had them in a cage on the side of a busy road in Ho Chi Minh City. Dreadful conditions. We don't know how long he's had them. The parents would have more than likely been shot or trapped in snares. And then the youngsters are taken away as a byproduct. It's so traumatic for the youngsters.
The 2 tiny langurs, 1 male and 1 female, are currently in a plastic crate and have been left in the corridor of the police station, where Ms. Fong gets her first look. Unsurprisingly, they're frightened and traumatised. Stolen from their parents at such a young age, there's no way of knowing what they've endured over the last few days or even weeks. But they're in safe hands now. Ms. Fong is an expert in caring for young primates and has looked after many suffering a similar fate. There are a number of formalities to be completed before she can begin the journey back to Dao Tien. She contacts Lee and sends him a photo of the 2 infants.
The female looks a little skinny, and and the male seems a little bit more active from what I can see, brighter in the eyes. But until they actually get onto Dao Tien, where we can make a better and proper assessment, fingers crossed, as always, Miss Fung will do her best, honour her journey home to make sure they're okay and that she's given them milk, water, so that when they come here, we've started that process.
With the paperwork done, the 2 Langurs can now be transferred into a more suitable travel crate. It's vital they get to the centre as soon as possible to start the long process of rehabilitation they so desperately need. It's a race against time to get 2 rescued baby silvered Langurs to Dao Tien, Monkey World's sister sanctuary in Vietnam. The tiny infants are in desperate need of care and attention, and their future is in the balance. Throughout the 5-hour journey, animal manager Ms. Fong has been reassuring the bewildered pair, giving them water and comfort. They've made good time, arriving at the river crossing to Dao Tien just before midnight. The rescue centre is located on an island on the Dong Nai River, and the only way to reach it is by boat. Ms. Fong has phoned ahead, and Lee Butler has sent Mr. Hai, the nighttime keeper, across to collect them. It's a scenario that has become all too familiar to Lee.
This should not be happening. They're not pets. They should be in the wild, in their family groups, in the forest. That's where they belong. Tourism, illegal pet trade, it has to stop. And here at Dao Tien, where we work with Cat Tien National Park and the local government of Vietnam, we are trying to make a change. We're making a difference. But we all get very, very frustrated that this continues. This has to stop.
It's gone midnight. Ms. Fong has been travelling for a total of 9 hours and has finally made it back to Dao Tien with the 2 baby silvered Langurs. The youngsters have been given names. The male has been called Diep, and the female, who is older and darker, Danny. They were being kept in a small cage by a local street seller and must have been terrified, probably having seen their parents killed for meat. The main concern now for the team on Dao Tien is the state of their health.
So Miss Fung was saying is that we have a boy and a girl. So now they're here, they're in great hands. We'll get them into their cage and we'll go from there for the night.
The first thing the team need to do is get essential fluids into the infants.
They could be dehydrated, the bodies could be going into shock. So it's really important that Miss Fung and Mr. Hai get this first feed into them. The next feed will do 50% milk, no sugar, and 50% electrolyte, so we can still get the electrolytes into them. So that will be about 2 o'clock this morning. And then at 3 o'clock, hopefully then we go to the normal milk feeds and then start to introduce a correct diet for them. It's so sad, but they're now in the best hands possible for their next step in their rehabilitation to get them back into the forest.
It's going to be a long night for Lee and the team.
No problem.
But the 2 baby Langurs are now in the best possible place, and their future is definitely brighter than it was just a few hours ago. It's been a long time coming, but today Siam and Gibbons, Sam and Sasak are being allowed back into their wonderful tree-filled enclosure. The primate care staff and the maintenance team are doing the final checks and a bit of last-minute TLC. It's been 9 long months since the Siamang pair last swung through the trees here. In that time, their indoor playroom area and bedrooms have also been renovated. Sam and Sasak moved back into their indoor space 3 months ago and have been enjoying the benefits of their new facilities. But the atrocious winter and early spring weather delayed the renovation of their outdoor enclosure. Until now. When they get outside, Sam and Sasak will find many of the old ropes and hosing have been replaced. The fence line and stream have been fixed, and their pulley feeders have also been moved to different areas. It'll give the Siamangs plenty to explore.
We've sort of let the enclosure go a little bit wild to a degree. The lichen and the moss has grown on the trees and on some of the older ropes and things like that, so they're going to have to use their brains really to manoeuvre around the enclosure and relearn everything that's changed. They'd had it all mapped out in their heads over the years, and it's a great thing that we do at the park. We try and change the enclosures every so often just to keep them on their toes a little bit.
The enclosure is all set, and Sarah opens the slide to allow the Siamang pair out.
Come on!
Sasak is first, straight onto the ropes, and an impressive tightrope walk across to the trees. Sam isn't far behind, like his mate, heading up high to the tree canopy. The space is very familiar to them, but the changes mean the pair will have to learn new ways of moving around the enclosure, familiarising themselves with the new ropes and planning new routes.
Amazing, they're out, they're up high, they're together, they're checking out all areas of the enclosure. They have had a look at the river, don't seem fazed by it, which is a good sign. Sass is a little bit wobbly on some of the new rope that's been put in, but that's only going to build her muscles up even better. And yeah, they're just trying to work out how to get to that pulley feeder where their breakfast is, because of course it's all a little bit different in there now. So this will take them a while to get used to it, but pleased.
Sam and Sasak seem happy to be back in the trees. After a cautious start, testing the flexibility of the branches and ropes, they've found their feet and their confidence has grown. And they finally made it across to the pulley feeder.
They do seem happy, they're nice and content. Once they've perhaps had their breakfast and had their explore of the enclosure, then they'll hopefully get together and start singing, which is what I'm really looking forward to.
It's a beautiful day at the park, and all of Hananya's chimp group are outside, taking advantage of the warm sunshine. The group of 18, under Hananya's command, are a fairly solid and contented bunch these days, but they still have their unpredictable and volatile moments.
They're so dramatic, and they kick off over the slightest little thing, and they just have no ability to de-escalate. This group really is something else.
Nearly all of them were rescued from across the globe. Hananya from Israel, along with Shamak, Cookie and Zeynep from Turkey, Honey from Dubai, and Kiki from Lebanon. Many of them came from Spain, and Tuti from Saudi Arabia. But there is one exception, 10-year-old Thelma. She was born at Monkey World to Mum Cherry and Dad Hananya, and her arrival had a profound impact on the troop.
Thelma, from day one, has always been very important to the group. She's been the only baby they've really known in such a long time, other than when they were younger themselves. And like being brought up by Cherry, everyone has kind of adored her from the day one, although Hananya, I think, has always had mixed feelings about her. But yeah, she's so important to the group, and she really is the future of things, to be honest. Like, she's younger and stronger than everyone else. Well, not at the moment, but she eventually one day will be. She's always going to be a big player, and so, I mean, definitely, as they all get older and feel a lot more vulnerable, a lot of them are going to be cozying up to the younger, stronger individual. So, yeah, she's got a big future, I imagine.
At 10 years old, Thelma is now classed as an adolescent and is heading to adulthood and finding her place in the group. From day one, she's had a very different upbringing to the rest of the troop, who, due to their orphan backgrounds, had to figure out how to be chimps. Thelma was born to it, raised by Mum Cherry and looked after and pampered by a whole host of uncles and aunts. Chimps like Arthur, the lowest ranking male in the group, have never been far from her side since the day she was born.
I think she does have a reputation as a bit of a terror and not terribly nice, and it's really, I find it very unfair. She is just finding her niche in the group, and I mean, she's not going to have to battle too hard because she's already had quite a high-ranking position already, but she's got to find out where she stands and see what works. She's seen from day one how things lay in the group, who's in the power position, who's low-ranking. She's a bright girl, she understands very much where she fitted in, so she's very aware of her power in the group, and it's kind of been easy going for her, basically. She's kind of made sure everyone knows that they know she's more important than them, but she's not gone overboard with it, I like to think.
One chimp Thelma was close to growing up was Cookie, a low-ranking female in the troop. But as she's got older, aware of her unique standing, Thelma has started testing individuals like Cookie to see what she can get away with. But that may be coming to an end.
Thelma's definitely played on the baby card for quite a while, and I think a lot of them are wise to the fact that she can be a little terror, and a lot of them don't indulge her massively. As scary as Thelma thinks she is, she's not as tough as she pretends to be, and she's not really much of a fighter. And generally, if it comes to blows, yeah, she might throw the tantrum and she might have a few little slaps, but if someone stands up to her, she does crumble and then start crying for support. And thankfully, the others aren't massively supporting that side of things, and I hope that carries on, because over time, hopefully she'll learn to be nicer to the lower rankers and not try and force them to play. But yeah, it's a slow lesson at the moment.
And there are still kindly uncles prepared to offer a cuddle. Next time on Monkey Life. With the maintenance crew hard at work, it's all changed for some of the park's capuchins, with 31 of them on the move.
Good girl, Laura. I'm going to go move this lot down and then start work on Franco and Jenny again.
And a frustrating puzzle for Gibbons, Kitty and Paul.